I think this is gonna be the last video for modeling, so let's just get on with it. Now, I was wondering if we don't have too many screws in here. Let's select all of them. And this one's go to local view, go to edit mode, and there we go. Make them larger. These, right? So do something like this. Let me just align myself here. Q and align. There we go. And just rearrange them slightly, right? You know what I mean? Maybe something like this is better. Right. Let me see this. Yeah, it's less vulgar, you know. Also, the door here, this the frame should have some screws, right? So, you know, Shift D and hold Control and slap it in here. Now we need to clear the parenting, remember, because this one is parented to the front, so clear parenting. And let's just bring it outside here like that, right? Let's grab this frame. And we don't need a mirror either because, you know, this is not going to be mirrored, so just nuke the mirror. And then we're going to align it. So let's align ourselves to this frame. So click on the frame here on this one. And then Q and align, click. And then we can, you know, arrange it. Now we don't probably need to go all the way around, but, you know, somewhere like this here, I think it would look pretty cool. Do you know what I mean? And then grab these and mirror them across this frame here, right? And then we're gonna bring them down. So Shift D, move them down here. In fact, you know what? Alt D. So when we gonna, you know, arrange, put button one of them, hold Control and snap it. All of them gonna update, you know what I mean? So put it in the middle, right? Then select this face, right? And Q and align, click, and then let's do this, right? So Shift D, more, just space them more or less, you know, just use your eyes, you know what I mean? Not a big deal. And maybe like this. Let me see this. Oh, this is much better. You see, like these small details, man, these small details, they're just so freaking cool. Right, so freaking cool. So now we need some kind of holders for these, and I think I'm not gonna be overthinking this, to be honest. I'm going to simply grab this and, you know, I'm going to, let's just control click here and let's go to edit view and we could probably nuke these. Okay, faces. And then solidify it. I need to go outside, yeah. Like this. Let me see this. Let's grab these, yeah. And let's work on that. So, yeah, I think this is reasonable. And then, you know, select these and just bevel them. Don't overdo it, because when you're gonna run a bevel on it, you know, it's gonna cause more problems. So now we need to sort of, you know, connect them to this chassis here. We could create like a box behind them. So hang on a second, cube, right? Let's scale it, move it here, make it larger, it's smaller, put it somewhere here, like this, make it shorter. There we go. Right, and just, you know, bring it in here like that. And then apply scale and run a bevel on these, right? Just make it bigger and bevel on that, right? And then you're gonna get this kind of like a side holder here for these. So, and then we could have some, I don't know, belts here, whatnot, you know, some stuff here like shift curve extract, you know, similar to the one on the front. And then maybe just array it up, you know, and create like 3 rings for each of them. I think it's gonna be cool like that. You know what I mean? Maybe let's make 2 of them, move it up a bit, but make this larger and create a similar situation to what we have on the canisters in the back, which means run a cut in the middle here. Whoa, that's what happens when you boolean an array, by the way. Always moves, just saying. Always moves. You know, something like this could be interesting here, right? So you got this kind of sort of, you know what I mean? And then just bevel this with control, right? Just don't overdo it. And here in the front, we could have some, I don't know, some whatever. So we could just borrow this cube even, you know, Shift D, move it here, scale it. You can borrow shapes from anywhere, you know, it doesn't really matter, you know. It really doesn't. Scale this, move it in, right, here. And, well, this is not really curved, but we could technically curve this, but, you know, maybe create something like this here and bevel this, and then, you know, some kind of weighted normals, and maybe create some kind of an illusion of a you know, like a clamp or whatnot. Just press T for solidification. Solidify it here inside like that. Boom, right? And then apply this, sharpen, and then simply, you know, either chamfer it, bevel it, or whatever, and there you go. You know, you get like a lock, you know. And then just simply, you know, maybe make this bigger like that. And also let's apply the boolean here. So boolean, it's gonna mess things up. Okay, let's nuke the bevel and apply multiply, then apply the bevel, and then let's grab this and move it a little bit. Actually, let's nuke this, dissolve edges, and move this one a little bit further apart. Oh, just nuke this too, and grab these two, right? I mean the 4, sorry. And we just gonna, you know, we're just gonna do this, right? And then nuke this one, L, and vertices, and then grab this and just array it up. In fact, what we could do is nuke one of them and mirror it. So vertices, then mirror across the canister, and then array it up. Just press X, boom, right? And now this fits nicely. So Alt D and drop it down. And now we're gonna have to apply it. So, or we could apply a secondary array, you know. So Q, right? And then array, and then press A and X, and you're gonna have a secondary array. So just make sure you're gonna align them here. So array and, you know, align them, right? There we go. And grab these, and you could array them too. So Q and array, press X, and just array them here. Boom, right? And you got cylinders, I mean these canisters sorted. That looks freaking sick. And obviously we need some stuff here on the top, so, you know, insert it, just, you know, like that. And then we need some bevel here, obviously, and the bevel's gonna mess with the array again. Yeah. Different day, same shit, you know what I mean? So here, let's make this interesting, shall we? So maybe, come on, maybe this one. This one's kind of cool. Put it here on the bottom somewhere, like that. Nuke this name. I don't know why these names are in here. What's the point? Like, for real, what's the point, man? Select this, and let's go to mats. Nuke all the mats, and you know, scale it. We could align it perfectly here. So select this one, Shift S to face, and then this one to cursor. Scale it, bevel it. Obviously you need a very small bevel, and then array it. So 3 of them, right? More or less, right? Alright, so now let's mirror the canister, or we could move the origin point to the middle of this, so Shift S and to edge, which is going to move it. The only problem is going to move the canister itself. You see that? It moved this. So that's a problematic thing. So what we could do is move a cursor here. Shift S and move cursor to edge, right? Which is going to be different than origin point. And then we could mirror this one across cursor. So local cursor, there we go. Boom, right? There we go. Now we need to apply this because if I move the cursor, the mirror moves. So here, operations, smart apply. And it's going to apply the bevel because of course it will. Shit. There's something really, really, really heavily messed up with this shit, man. Like it's proper out of order, you know what I mean? Shift S and to origin, dude. That's so annoying. But anyway, now we got these canisters in the side, I think, which looks pretty cool. This one can go to cutters. I don't need it in here. It's an array, you know, modifier. This one also could be made a bit more interesting by simply running an edge here, GX and Alt in macro. Because whenever you have more details, life is more colorful, you know what I mean? That's pretty cool. Okay, cool, I like that. What am I missing? Right, we're missing some bits and bobs and blips on top of this one, right? So we could actually borrow the lamp. Where is it? Let's nudge this. I think it's gonna be cool. Shift D, you see, like, it could be a lamp, but it could also be something else, right? Let's nuke the mirror. Make it, whoa, Shift S into Geo. And then, what the hell is going on? Oh yes, I'm scaling on cursor. There we go. And pop it in here. Let me see this. This is too big, so let's make it, actually S, Shift Z and make it wider. And then pop it in here and make it smaller. And pop it in. Right? So we got this, and we could have like, you know, more than one, maybe one smaller one. You know, I think it's gonna look pretty dope. There we go, something like this here, right on top. And then we also need an antenna. And to be honest, we could use the same one for the antenna. So watch, Shift D, move it in here, drop it down, right, like this. Probably should be on the other side, because if you're gonna go up here and walk, you want to give the guy some space. But then on the other hand, I got the chimneys in here, I mean the exhausts, and I think it's gonna be fine. Okay, so now let's insert it, extrude it, insert it some more, then extrude it, then insert it, and then extrude it. Okay, there we go. And then we're gonna create a smaller one, so Shift D, Shift Z, and make it smaller. Boom, right? And there you go. And you got 2. G, Shift Z, and you got 2 of them here, like this. And we could have also another one on top of this one, so a really small one, like that. G, Shift Z, and move it in here, right? Somewhere. You know what I mean? Because why the hell not? Now, what I really want to do, right, is I want to have something here. So let's save it. Cool. And let's run a cut here with a box. I want to have like a maintenance, want to hatch whatnot here, right? So boom, T. There we go, right? And some handles. So let's actually, let's apply it. Well, no one's going to be looking in here anyway. We can do it with decals, you know, but this is kind of cool. Right, and are we good? I think we're good. Another thing I wanted to do is I wanted to, you know, create a panel out of this. What I mean by that is actually slice this one here like this, right? Maybe not as deep, but somewhere here like that. And press B, and then X and slash this like that. Okay. So I'm gonna have a kind of a, you know, do you know what I mean? So now we need to mirror this across across a shape. We could mirror this across the cursor. So Shift S, cursor to origin, Alt X, and cursor, mirror this cutter, and then apply it. So apply the mirror right here, boom, and then we're good. Because I want this to be in the middle. If you mirror this across the shape, it will not work. So there you go, right? Now I wonder if this cutter should be ending here. So let's recover it, ever scroll. And I might actually cut this, you know, here. So let's just cut the cutter here like this. See that? So it's going to actually run above it here. So G, and move it all the way here like this. So you're gonna have this panel on top, right? And I'm gonna be satisfied. There we go. And then here we could have, you know, on the other side, we could have some notches here as well. Maybe some wedge cuts, you know. One, and then grab this wedge cut. Where is it? And then move it here. So array X, and then grab the cutters and run the mirror again through the cursor. Boom, right? Then apply it, because if you don't apply it, you know, if you move the cursor, problematic. Do you know what I mean? So let's operations multiply. Boom, right? And there we go. That looks really, really cool. So we got some paneling over there. PG. We could also have a tiny rim here, like that. Shift curve extract outside, and then Shift D and X and move it in here. Just to add an additional level of detail, and obviously we need to bevel this, so Control click on bevel and make it smaller. This one could also have some detail in the back or whatnot. Also, we could, you know what, we could just bevel the back of this face here too. Can I do this? It's 3 to clean it, and then just, you know, bevel the back here as well. I think it's gonna look better. Yeah, more consistent, you know. There you go. I think we kind of arrived. I think we kind of done. The rest really can be done with decals, you know. I wouldn't really go too crazy on this. We could just keep playing, and obviously, I mean, we could fix the lights as well, so we could, you know, kind of mount them a little bit differently here. Now we could, you know, boolean this, but honestly, I think it's just that's crazy. What we could do is kind of slice them here like this. So maybe slice them like that, just for fun. And we could create some hinges in here, but you know what? I think it's just gonna be too much. It's gonna be honestly too much. They could be mounted on the railing itself, you know, here, right? This one wasn't parented, hang on. Control P and parent, right? Yeah. This could be mounted on the railing itself. Hang on, hang on. Oh, that's actually better. See, now I prefer that. Cool. So now with this done, we don't actually need this boolean. No, we don't. What we do need is to move them deeper on the y-axis, like this. And I think we're good. We could even move them closer here a little bit, right? And we could just kind of, you know, rotate them downwards a bit like this, just ever so slightly, so they kind of angle down. Or maybe not, maybe not. I'm not crazy about this from the side. From the top looks really good. I think it looks better. Maybe they could be smaller. Oh, that's an idea. Hang on, hang on. Maybe that's the play. And move them in here. Let me see this. Maybe that's the play. And move them slightly forward. I'm not creating any holes in here because it's just, you know, that's crazy, right? I think that's fine. Now we could create some kind of like a, you know, additional, maybe kind of covers above these windows, but do I really want to bother with this? If you don't know what I mean something like this. So here, let's just control click on curve extract. And let's just go to local view and let's grab this one and EX like this, right? Let me see this. You know what I mean? And well, I would need to make this larger, right? So something like this, right? And obviously the bevel now will not fit, so yeah, we need to redo the bevel. But I'm just thinking if I want something like this in here, right? Obviously not as tall, but you know, something like this. And see that the thing is, I want to show you this, okay? So Control C, copy. Let me go to 4.0. I'll show you what you can do with Mesh Machine in this case, because in this Blender we can't do it because I don't have Mesh Machine, but I'll show you how to fix stuff like this with Mesh Machine. So now you see we have this misalignment of bevels, right? This angle is different than this one. So what you want to do is you want to select this, you want to select this bevel, right? You want to go to Y, and you want to go to refuse, right? And then when you refuse, you can just type W and you can freaking fix this shit. And then just simply mirror to the other side, right? And you know, well, across this one. So come on, let me just move that Shift S to Geo and then mirror across this, not flip, mirror. There we go. And then you see you got this fixed. If I still need to adjust it, I can. You know, I go here and I go to Y and refuse. I press W. Come on, here, this one. Okay, Y, right, refuse, and then, you know, you press W or T for tension, right? You can even adjust the tension, watch. And then W, right? And you can, you know what I mean? You can't do it in Blender. So if I copy this now to the other side, so I'll do it in here, but if you can't do it, just skip it, okay? If you don't have Mesh Machine. But I really would recommend you get it. It's just it's one of the best add-ons for fixing geometry. It really is. It's just incredible what you can do with it. And you see we will have this kind of like a shading here on top. I don't know if it's cool or not or what. Just bring it closer and then bevel and, you know, fix the bevel. I don't know. And this could be also dropped lower. So, you know, let's apply the boolean and grab this one and drop it lower like this, right? I think it's gonna be cooler. Oh, we need to drop all of them. So hang on, what's going on here? Oh, there's a line here. Wait a minute, what? Oh, just press 3 to clean it. There we go. And then we could drop it on the same angle. So let's just select this face or this edge, even better. Plus, right? Then grab this edge. Then G, Y, and drop it down. Boom, right? And there you go. And create something like this. I think it's kind of cool. And then Alt D, Y, and or X, whatever. No, wait, Y, right? Oh, fuck, we need to fix the... always forget. Let's apply the mirror. Right? Not the bevel, the mirror. And then make sure you're gonna switch from this custom orientation to global. And then Alt D, Y, and move it in here. And, you know, now we got these two kind of frames. What the fuck is this? Wait, what? Is it double mesh here? Oh, select this one and nuke it. My OCD kicked in for a second. Let's make this tiny bit larger, yeah? Tiny bit. So the seal is showing. Alt D, Y, and move it in here. I don't know if it's cool. I think it's kind of cool. And we don't have to mirror them because on the other side we have different stuff, right? So don't worry about it. I think this is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Let's just make sure we have weighted normals here to flex the mesh and we're good to go. We could also have another plating on top here. This could be interesting, you know, running all the way from from here to the front behind the lights. So sometimes I just press W and hold shift and just select all this. And if you select something you shouldn't be selecting, like the face here, control and unclick this. And well, I could select this one, then we're gonna mirror this, but or in fact, yeah, it's fine, we're gonna mirror this. And then, you know, shift curve extract this, right? And we're gonna nuke the bevel for a second. And let's just go back here. Do I like this though? Do I like this though? Well, this could be interesting, you know. This could be interesting, not gonna lie. Obviously the bevel needs to be fixed because it's insane. Let me see this. And then weighted normals, right? Because it's mental. Let me see this. This is kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, you know. I kind of like this. It's kind of like a sleeve around this, you know. And we could taper it off in here, you know, like run a loop here, right? And simply taper it off. So when I apply solidification here, right, I could taper it off. So GX and you know what I mean? And then run bevel here. Maybe not as dense, but there we go. I really like this. I really do. We will need to fix this top here though. So let's go to edit mode and yeah, select this. The rest is mirrored. So, and then we could just go with Alt A and bottom, right? It's going to fix this lip on the top a little bit, and then bevel needs to be fixed as well. So the moment is insane, right? There we go. Right. I kind of like this, you know. It's kind of like a additional something on top. Now this got messed up, obviously. I don't think I selected this one as well. So select this whole thing, this one, Alt A and bottom, and you're gonna fix this. There you go. The bottom, I think it's fine. Just the top was messed up a little bit. And it kind of emphasizes, you know, this compartmentation of this vehicle into two different ones. And we could have some stuff going on here in the back. Also, we could just add a little bit more geometry here because there is a curvature going on the side. So you do want to, you know, help out with the shading, add some more geo. But I think this looks pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. When we run this, we need to be careful because, you know, we have doorways. So remember about this. We're gonna have to cut this in here, yeah? So what we do is we get this we get this. So let's go to local and we snatch this edge, this one, right? So move it P selection. Then we grab it, right? We go to, yeah, let's close it. So let's close it here with F, and then let's run faces all the way down here. And so this is gonna be a problematic one, but we could just run a loop here like this, right? Align it here, and we could just you know, work with this here somehow. F. We could mirror to the other side, so Shift S and to geometry and Alt X and mirror. Did it work? Did it fuck? Okay. It didn't work, so let's move the origin point between these 2 points to edge and then mirror. That's better. Let's apply this mirror and then let's fix this, yeah. F, boom, right. Now, let's just smooth this and we're going to increase the solidification. Just nuke the bevel. Okay, outside, and then move it in. And we're gonna slice this one, so difference. But before we do that, we need to apply the mirror. So apply the mirror here, and then slice it difference. and you're gonna get this, which is really freaking cool. So in order to fix this, yeah, we lost the bevel here, so let's run a bevel on this one, okay? Guess we lost the bevel. Wait a minute, there's a cabin inside of the cabin? What is going on here? Let's just hide this. What is this? That's the main cabin, okay. And there's another one in here. I think it's a duplicated cabin. Let's click again. Okay, Alt H. That's one cabin. Okay, let's hide it. And what is this? Right, so we got a problem. We got some stuff mirrored across a phantom cabin. What we could do is, instead of removing it, because it's going to be a pain, just let's hide it. The mirror is going to stay, but you're going to remove the problem, and then Alt H, and just hide this one, okay? And we're going to call it Ghost Cabin. Otherwise, I would need to, you know, remirror everything, which is going to be an absolute pain. So now it's one cabin here, perfect, so I can, you know, bevel this again. For some reason, I lost the bevel, so I'm just going to redo it. Do you know what I mean? And then shift click on sharpen here and here. Boom. So now it makes sense, right? And then we need to fix this problem, but that's, you know, that's not a really big issue. I think this is looking pretty freaking cool. I'm not gonna lie. I really like this for some reason. So let's apply this. Let's move the bevel and let's apply this. And then let's run a bevel. You know, small one, right? And then let's fix this problem here, because that's caused by the bevel. So let's go to local view and let's fix it. Let's see what's happening here. Okay. Probably some edge too close. There we go. See what I mean? Always the same problem. Every time. Select these two and shift to, actually no, one. And I think we peachy, and we could move this one. Whoa. We could move this one here and boom. And in fact, this could be done lowered here, GG, relax it, and we're good to go. Right. I think we're good. We don't need the sharp edges here anywhere, so let's nuke them. Maybe we slap bolts on top of that, you know, like for example, somewhere here in the middle. I don't know if it's gonna look cool, but we could try, right? This could be interesting. So let's borrow a bolt and shift D to the other side, and let's remove the mirror, and then G and the hold control, and then, you know, and then let's see this, GX, move it out here, and then, you know, we could run some bolts here underneath, right? Like an array, modifier array X. I need to apply rotation. One more time. There you go. You know, this could be a play, right? This could be a play. This could be a play. And they could be deeper, right? So, boom, right? This could be a play. And we could have them on both sides. So shift D this and put this here on the bottom like that. And instead of arraying them so deep, oh, what happened? Click. Oh, this inside, right? Where is it here? Let's just move them outside. What we're gonna do is, hang on. Yeah, we're gonna borrow one, so, you know, shift D one, and we're gonna nuke this array. We don't need the array. And run it here, so, you know, GX, move it in here. Hang on. Just one here, and then Alt D, and Alt D. How this would look, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So these would need to be moved inside and also aligned. Then moved inside, right? And these also will need to be aligned. Because the ones on the top are actually slanted. Because the surface is slanted, you see? But that surface here is straight, so how this looks. I think this looks freaking cool. Now, I'm not sure if this shouldn't be actually here. And maybe entire length. I think this looks badass. So, wait a minute. Let's grab them. And let's mirror them across the cursor. Boom, right? And then we need to deal with this. So this one, we need to apply the mirror. So let's apply the mirror. And then, you know, once we apply the mirror, we can apply the array. And then we're going to remove part of it. So go to Edit View, Alt-Z, and nuke these. So vertices. Did I remove too many? Yes. One more time. Alt-Z. Remove these. Perfect. And then this one should be going down as well, right? So let's just Shift D this. Or in fact, Alt D this, right? Alt D. Nuke the array. Where is it? Here. And let's just go with this. So G, Alt D, and Alt D here. And this one needs to move. And then we need to check the alignment. So actually they're fine. They're fine. How are we looking? I think this is freaking cool. Now we still could have some stuff here going on the front, but like I said, we can do it with decals. Though we could have some kind of you know, middle part here still, or maybe just like, you know, cuts or some such, something to break this nose. You know what I mean? Maybe a cut in here. Let me see this. Let me have a scroll this. Oh, Shift S and to geometry, and we need to unparent this. Actually, parenting is fine. There we go. Let me see this. You always gotta nudge this, you know, these cutters a little bit, and they're gonna fall in line. And here you see on the edge here, this is a bad idea. So either go lower with your cut, right, or higher. You don't want to cut on the geometry because you see how it cleans up. So when you do this, you can always turn on the wireframe, right, for this one. Though we can't see it because it's behind the solidification, so in this case will not be very helpful, but you know what I mean. So, and also this one, come on, could be narrower, but narrower, there you go. But let me just grab the bottom. Why is it so fucking long? That's crazy. S and X and hold control and do this, right? You see this? Yeah, you see, this is pretty cool, and we could have some stuff over there, you know, like I don't know, maybe 2 hooks or whatnot. This could be interesting. We could have 2 small hooks over there. Shift D, right? Go to the top view. There's no such thing as too many details. I mean, there is, but not when you know what you're doing. Let's just move them in here. Let me see this. G, Y. Yeah, I think this makes sense. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Another thing I was thinking that we could have some kind of additional details running around this this barrel, you know. I don't know if I'm not overthinking this, but we could. And now, for example, what we could have here, right, is, let me just Alt and macro this, right? we could have a pipe. So, you know, curve extract, right? And then S. So we could have something like this. I think it's gonna add a little bit of interesting detail and maybe similar stuff in the back, you know, right? So again, RTM macro, edge in the middle, and then curve extract. See how quickly this goes with hard ups, and then we need to mirror them to the other side. Visual to mesh, visual to mesh, and this is gonna do it. Yeah, see, it just adds a bit of a kind of a detail there. I think it looks really cool. This one too could be a little bit more interesting. We could add something in the middle here, but again, this could be done with a decal. But we could, you know, run some assets thing, maybe even these, or maybe something like that. This could look interesting, I think. Just smaller. Or, you know, the other side of it. So 180, and grab this one, right? And then it's gonna look like a reactor or something. Do you know what I mean? So grab that, and fucking these names, bro. Like, why? For real, man. Shift S to cursor, and again RX 180, and move it in here. Apply the rotation because you're gonna be in a world of pain, and then we're going to move it to the top. Maybe scale this, move it deeper, and then where is it? Mesh tools and radial array X. Yeah, see what I mean? This kind of looks cool, I'm not gonna lie. And this could be mirrored again to the other side across the cursor. That didn't work. Where's the cursor? Oh yes, cursor's in here. We will need to apply the array first. So let's apply this. Radial array. Yeah, let's go with smart apply. And then Shift S, cursor to origin, Alt X, and mirror. And then we're gonna apply the mirror before we forget that we have a mirror, okay? So boom, right? And obviously some bevel, so small one. Bevel. You want bevels, plus 1. You don't want to overdo it here, right? There we go. And we can hide this to cutters. Okay? I really think we should be finishing this, okay? But you see, like when you see, like this is a problem when you have a, like I said, balance block out. It is so easy to place detail. It's just crazy how easy it is, right? It's freaking crazy how easy it is to do it. Okay. The same with lights here. I mean, we could have some kind of like a cut here, you know, just for fun. Just to, you know, let me see this. You know, just to create some kind of a planar shift. Just, you know, just for shits and giggles. I think it just looks pretty cool. All right, I think that's it for the modeling part. We're done. And in next section, we're going to be texturing this and decaling. I don't really know if we need many decals because there's so many details on this already, but you know, we could still have some decals here and there. I think it's going to spice things up. Also, another thing I was thinking about is to add a frame here. So let me just grab this and cut it with a knife like this, right? And then I wanted to run a rim here, but before I do that, I also wanted to inset this. Hang on. Inset it in here. Like this, right? And fix this wireframe. So nuke this one. Fix this here. Move this one here. And combine these. And we don't need this one. And then, let me see the other side. Yeah, the other side is going to be messed up, but it's mirrored, yeah, so it's fine. This could be a bevel. Hang on. Let me just grab this entire bit here, including this. So yeah, we would need to combine these two. J, and then grab all this here and bevel it. I think it's gonna be better. There we go. And then recalculate sharpen. And then let's grab this and this. And let's run a shift curve extract here. There we go. And we could drop the bevel a little bit, you know. There we go. Are we looking? I think it's gonna look interesting, you know. Just a bit of a breakage there. Maybe even a bit more solidification here. So, you know what I mean? Just to create this kind of a frame in the back. And do we have a bevel here? Probably not, so let's run the bevel on it. You don't want this bevel to be too large, because it's gonna be causing havoc. Alright, there we go. Let me see this. That's cool. And we could do the same thing on the front, you know, so Shift D, Y, and move it in here, then rotate it, R, Z 180. Where is it? Jesus, where did it go? Holy shit. Okay. GY and boom, right? Just, you know, more or less slap it in here so it makes sense. Oh, there you go. And put some weighted normals. I think we might need them. Yeah, just adds a bit of a, you know, and move this one a little bit deeper so it doesn't interfere with this. In fact, yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Oh yes, there's one more thing I wanted to do. I forgot about that. I mean, we don't really have to do it, but we could. There's a bevel here. Let me see this. Yeah, there is, right? Yeah. I wanted to create kind of like cuts here, tapered, like this. Right? And we just array this. So, to here, right? Yeah. And maybe not so deep. So, GY and move it in here, like that. And I wanted to run like a bolt inside of them, you know? So grab this and just curve extract and smooth it, right? And then just run it in here. Scale this, wow, Shift S to geometry S, X, and then G and down, right? And this could be repeated in here. Now this isn't geometry, so, you know, be careful, but right? And obviously this cutter needs to be mirrored to the other side, so I have a scroll and there's a mirror here. No, right? So let's see if we can mirror this safely. Alt X, then modifier. There we go. No, you see it mirrored this. So Shift, click, Alt X, A, and mirror. Something is buggered because this shouldn't be mirroring. So again, let's do it on cursor. So cursor and boom, right? Then we're gonna have to apply this. So go here and we're going to apply the boolean, but be bloody careful with this bevel again. Jesus, I have a seriously, I got PSDT after this. Visual to mesh, because at the moment this is not, you know, not a mesh. And then we could also mirror this here like that, and then apply this, right? Yeah, that's fine. And these are cool because this could be, you know, for some, you know, fastening the load or whatnot, you know, in the back here. I think it looks pretty dope. Okay, but anyway, that's the last thing, I promise. Cross my heart. All right, that's it. Seriously. All right, we're done. Although we could still have something in here in front, but you know what? I think maybe an empty space here looks nice. Maybe it's gonna be overdone. I was thinking about making like a engine entry, you know, or some kind of like opening or whatnot, but I think we're good. But you know what? A sort of a dotted skid plate here would be interesting, wouldn't it? So if I took this, right, and then shift click this to curve extractors like this, this could be a little bit more narrow. But we got booleans here, right? Hang on. Let me grab these booleans. Let me just uniquify this. So operations uniquify. So now hopefully these booleans gonna be attached to it. So have a scroll. And this boolean is not really cutting it properly, you see. So we need to move it here, right? Like this, right? Okay. Is it actually affecting the other mesh? No, it's not. Perfect. So let's make this larger. Okay. And this boolean should be before solidification. So let me see this mesh. Solidify. Yeah, it solidifies after boolean, which is a problem. So the solidification should be above the boolean. So before we boolean this, let's apply the solidification. So let's go with nuke the bevel. Let's apply this, right? So operations multiply, duplicate this, and then select that and boolean it. So here, difference, right? And now it's on the bevel on it. See, that's what I wanted. I wanted this to be slanted, and obviously we need weighted normals. But now I can make this one larger, right? Or can I? Which one is it? This one, right? Yeah, there you go. Make this one larger, right? So there you go. And so hang on a second. What is this? This is now popping here, which is something I don't want. So this needs to be sliced. Okay, D, and slice it. Boom, right? Perfect. So now we got this, and once we have this, what we could do is, obviously this is a little bit too thick, I think. Did we apply solidification? We did, but we can always fix this, not a big deal. We can, you know, grab all these, right, here, and we can Alt-S them, right, to make it, you know, thinner, right? And also here, this one, I think personally, should be beveled, but, you know, I could be wrong. I was wrong before. You know, it happens, okay? It happens. Shift S to origin, Shift S to cursor, okay? And then let's move it up. All right, then I should be dead in the center, right? Yeah, let's move it outside a bit like that, okay? I like that. So we're gonna have it, you know, slightly higher here and sort of, you know, sticking out, yeah? So we could have, you know, a cut here with a regular cut like this. This is gonna show the bottom, right? And then we could have some circular cuts here in this one, okay? So let's align ourselves here, Q, and align to view. Let's go to local view. And this origin point is still not in the middle of my, on my wag. I don't know why. I don't get this. Are these booleans on the side uneven or something? What is going on here? Hang on, let me just grab this and align it to the left, and then we're going to mirror this to the other side and apply the mirror. And then Shift S and origin to geo. And let me see this now. Okay, now it's in the fucking dead center, right? Something was wrong with the mesh, that's why. Okay, so now we're gonna cut this, and I'm gonna hold Control and create a cut, you know, dead in the middle. Cut it through and shift click. So when I'm gonna mirror this, my circle will not shift, okay? See what I mean? So now I can array this outside to one, you know, to here, to the right side, like this, right? And when I'm gonna mirror this, my circle in the middle is gonna be perfectly preserved, okay? So then what I can do is align myself to this face, or these two faces. So Q, and these faces I think are not perfectly straight. Or maybe it's my imagination. Maybe it's my imagination. Let me align myself to one of the cutters, because they definitely gonna be straight. So here, Q and align, boom, right? In fact, let's just rotate this view a little bit so we can see a little bit better. Let's Control, there we go. Cool, so now let's grab this one and Shift D, Y and move it down here. And we're gonna nuke one of the arrays, okay, and move it here on x-axis. And we're going to align it more or less in difference. And if it doesn't cut, just simply drive them through. Don't worry about the shading problems right now. That's not our concern, okay? Let's go back here to our alignment. In fact, we could probably do this without aligning ourselves anymore. So grab this one and then go to edit view and Shift D and then Y and move it in here, hold Shift, right? Boom, and then grab this one and select the thing, Shift D, Y and move it in here. Let me see this. A little bit more. And then select this one. Okay. And select this one. And then I think we're good. Let me see this, how we're looking. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. So let's grab this one and, not this one, wait. This one. And then select everything in Shift D and Y. And move it in here, okay. And we can nuke this one, okay, so L. And then just simply delete verts. And then we're gonna grab this one again, right? And then select it, all of it, so A, and then Shift D, Y and move it in here manually. And then we could just repeat this. I guess just turn off the bevel here so we don't get this nasty, actually we will get the nasty thing. Anyway. So how are we looking now? We're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good. And I think maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough. You know, we could just nuke these two here on the side. So we could go to, we could apply this array, right? Go here, grab this one, L, and nuke this. And then go here, apply the array, and nuke the last one. I think it's gonna look better. So L and nuke this, right? It's gonna kind of curve inwards, kind of like this. And I think that's it. Now, don't worry about this shading because we're gonna fix it right now. So now the mess in the middle, I think, is caused by double boolean. I think we have a double boolean running somewhere. Hang on. Something is not adding up here. One of these is doubled. So let's just recover this. Okay, let me see this. What in the fuck is going on here? Yeah, see, there's like a double mesh here. That's the problem. They just select this, the one inside, and I just nuke them. There we go. That's better. So now we fixed, right? So now let's, you know, what we could do technically is run connections between them with a knife. But you know what? It's fine. We're gonna do it manually. Just lower the bevel a little bit so it's more manageable. And I just multiply. We made this, holy fucking Jesus. Let's actually run a cut here like this with a knife. Maybe it's gonna help the situation. Boom, right? Yeah. Let's run another one here because Boolean could be pulling verts and it's gonna be very difficult to fix if you're not going to run some sort of a, you know, contingency plan here. You know what I mean? Don't connect it from a corner. Run it like this. In fact, yeah, let's go from a corner to corner. We're gonna fix it later. And before we apply this, let's nuke the bevel, because if you're going to apply it and the bevel gets applied, we're gonna be in a world of pain. So, boom, right? And yeah, these circles are a little bit too crazy, but you know, who cares? And you know, let's run the bevel, and we're gonna have to fix it a little bit. So, you know, just do some kind of a anger management here, do you know what I mean? So, just gotta connect these, because they're just too close to, whoa, the other way around. Too close to one another. You want to move, you don't want to move these, yeah? You want to move these to the circle, to the verts, not the verts, the edges supporting the circle curvature, otherwise you're going to distort the circle. So, you know, do not disturb the curves, do you know what I mean? Curves are under protection. we should also probably fix the one on the other side, but the other side's gonna be underneath, so you know no one cares. And then we're just gonna mirror it, yeah. So boom, right. And let's see this. I think it's gonna look pretty cool. We still have to fix these, so let's not be lazy. This one is simply to, let me just run a different edge here and nuke this. There we go. What the fuck? Oh, it's a mirror. Hang on. When you mirror a bad mesh, you see what I mean? You will not be able to fix it. There we go. Gotta fix from the mirror side, okay? Let me see this, because I think it's gonna look better. Was it worth it? I think so. I think it was. I think it looks really cool. Oh yeah, holy hell yeah, this is really cool. And here too, you know, like for example, you know, what we could have, it's this one, by the way, could be slightly beveled. I'm just saying, right? And we could have some sort of, you know, larger cutout here, maybe. Maybe, hang on. Is it a bevel applied here? No, Jesus, I got scared. And let me see this. We could just borrow one of these. So Shift D and do something like this, you see, and then move it in and move it forward. Let me see this now. G, Z, and drop it down. I think it looks pretty badass, man. We could also do something like this, right? You know what I mean? I think it looks pretty cool. Could be me. Could be me. And this could go deeper, you know. Here. Like that, right? And obviously not so wide. Yeah, this could be narrower. Now, hang on. Yeah, this could be actually interesting. Hang on. GX. I kind of like this, not gonna lie. Slap a bevel on it. Yeah, I really do. Let me grab this one and slap this edge GY and move it forward. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Yeah. That is so cool. So cool. So cool. And we could have, you know, additional kind of piping underneath. I know I told you 2 hours ago that we're done, but I was lying. I'm such a twat, I know. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? They don't call me Ryu for nothing, you know what I mean? Control click on curve extract. Let's go to local. Shift S to geo. And bada bing, bada boom. And yeah, it's probably gonna have to be done like this. And less of these. You don't wanna go crazy. And then pipage. Now this pipage, yeah, you know what? Let's run it like this, because when I'm going to create such a steep angle, I will not be able to create a really thick pipe. So there's gonna be a problem. So, you know, this is a play here, okay? So operations, mesh tools, boom, right? Because I want to make this fat, in fact, boom, right? Oh, this is a curve now. Visual to mesh, there we go. Let's just nuke this. And boom, right, and then one more time. Okay, S and Control 1. Let's see this. Let's see this. Let's see this. Maybe this is too aggressive. Let me see this now. This, I think, should be... Let me just grab these two local. Because I want to align them properly, you know what I mean? Yeah, this kind of should be going inward. So let's go back, visual to mesh, and let's actually do this, right? So like that. Nuke these, okay? And then combine these two and bada bing, and then one more time, and then S, and I just, you know, Control 1 this. Let me see this. I think this is better play. I think this is a better play. Also, should be a little bit lower, so somewhere here. And then mirror this to the other side. How we looking? It's too fucking tall and too fucking thick, I think. Should be higher. Like really close. Yeah. Holy fuck, this is sexy. Dude. Like, dude. Dude. Bruh. Bruh. Let's actually make this larger. And put some bolts. Yeah. We need more bolts. You know what I mean? I'm out there already, so hang on. Let me just grab this. We could keep the mirror, but we need to nuke the array because we don't need the array like this. In fact, we probably should nuke the mirror for now. And G and slap it in here if I can. I can't. In this case, Control R. What the fuck? Is that rotation applied here? Hang on. G, hold Control. Whoa. Rotation is applied of this one. Okay, let's nuke this, right? We need a new one. So if rotation is fucked up, you know, that's it. You can't really... I mean, you can. You could use... I think we can't do it in a local view. There we go. If your local... if your rotation is baked, you could still fix this. Let's just remove this parenting here. But it's gonna be slightly problematic, right? So, you know, it's not that easy to do, okay? G, hold Control, and are we peachy? No, we're not peachy. G, hold Control, there we go. And then let's flip it, so like this, boom, and then move it in here. And move it outside. Then move the cursor here, and then apply rotation, and then a radius. There we go. Okay, and then let's make it smaller. You know what I mean? And then let's mirror this. Alt X, X, and mirror. What the fuck? Oh, this is mirror too, right? Of course it is. If I apply this, well, I'm gonna be applying the bevel. No, I will not. Good. So now I can mirror this. I mean, I know the problem. The problem is we're mirroring this across the cursor X to reset it. Wait a minute. Where is the origin point? What in the fuck? Why is it not in the middle? Shift S to geometry. Okay, apply the mirror. Shift S to geometry. There we go. Shift X, X to reset it, and mirror. Now we're talking. Okay, good, good. So let's go back. Yeah, holy fuck, that's sick. That is actually sick. Okay, that's what I want to say. I would like to say that this is freaking sick. Onto your macro for more, you know, for more drama, and just mirror this. Boom, right? All right, I think we're done. No, seriously, I think we're done. So we're done, yeah. Anyway, the texturing section and the detailing section, the decal section is gonna be probably long, but you know, it's a bonus section. So is a rendering section. So if you don't want to watch it, it's fine. I think these two sections, so the section on tools and menus, and this one should give you, you know, way more than you need in terms of becoming efficient with Hardups and Boxcutter. These are sick add-ons, and also incorporate into your workflow machine tools, obviously, and mesh machine because it's so good. Then in next section, I'm going to show you how decal machine works and how our add-on works, material works, and also our decal packs. We have 900 decals and I think it's like 12 trim sheets, both textured and non-textured, and you can use them with our textures and decal machine to texture your stuff in Blender, and the add-on is amazing. You got edgeware and stuff like that, so it's very, 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 very good. And together with Decal Machine and the decals, it's a beast. So if you are interested, you can get the add-on together with Decal Packs, the Platinum version, on our website. So the add-on, the Material Works add-on, and the decals. You're gonna have to buy Decal Machine separately because that's not our add-on. But the next section, just watch it and you see how powerful these tools are, right? But that's it for the modeling stuff. Hope you enjoyed the course. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.